On Lion Mountain, the resurgence of spiritual energy caused unrest among the fierce beasts. Anna runs as fast as she can, escaping from her pursuers who are catching up with her. One of the soldiers, afraid of losing the girl, raises his rifle and shoots. The commander shouts at the soldier, fearing that the noise might provoke the animals. As expected, a huge ferocious mutant boar appears behind the soldiers. The bullet hit the animal right in the fang, causing a fit of wild rage. Realizing that the only way to survive is to kill the boar, the commander loads the grenade launcher. The grenade hits the boar, but does not cause a scratch. The beast's rage reaches critical limits. Suddenly, a monstrous roar is heard from the very top of the mountain, the sound wave from which destroys everything in its path. A mighty golden lion, the king of beasts and the ruler of the Lion Mountain, appears on the mountain. The soldiers, seeing the huge lion, are amazed by its size and the energy emanating from it. Raising their weapons, the soldiers begin to shoot randomly, hoping to hit the king of beasts. The lion makes a powerful leap, and a second later, finding himself on the ground, he throws the soldiers to the sides with powerful blows. Within moments, there is practically nothing left of the soldiers who disturbed the peace. The lion examines his paw and realizes that he has virtually no control over his strength. Chris was an ordinary orphan boy, who at some point decided to become an unofficial mercenary. One day, he accidentally found himself in this place and became a werewolf, turning into a golden lion. Chris can't figure out what's wrong with his system. No matter what he does, his power keeps increasing. Leo asks his werewolf parrot what happened to the girl who was being hunted by the military. The werewolf snake says that the girl was thrown by the shock wave right into the center of the animal flow. Anna lies on the ground, wounded and trampled by hundreds of paws of enraged animals. Chris sees that the girl is dead, but her body is still full of spiritual energy. Leo directs his spirit at Anna, and suddenly she begins to turn into a ghost. After some time, Chris realizes that the girl cannot calm down and says that if she does not want to be a ghost, she can simply reincarnate. Wendy, the candle demon, tries to calm the ghost girl down and says that the king is not evil at all, just a little straightforward. The girl explains that the lion shared his spirit with Anna so that the girl's soul would not be scattered. Wendy says that she once became a demon in the same way, but relying only on the power of the king is not enough. There are two conditions for becoming one. The first condition is a personal predisposition to becoming. The second condition is that Anna must have a strong enough motivation. Wendy asks the girl to tell what happened to her and why the soldiers were chasing her. Anna says that she lived in a village at the foot of the Lion Rock, and from the moment of the revival of spiritual energy, people from the village began to disappear one after another. 9 days ago, armed men burst into the village, gathered all the remaining residents, and brought them into the forest. The military forcibly forced people to go straight into the fog, to a place from which no one had ever returned. Once in the fog, the residents walked for some time, and then terrible changes began to happen to them. People were used as guides. All the locals disappeared after wandering a bit in the fog. Finally, it was Anna's turn. She walked straight into the fog under the sights of a gun aimed at her. The fog had some kind of hallucinogenic effect. At some point, the girl saw her parents and unconsciously went towards them. Then Anna fell into a hole which, in her opinion, the military was looking for. In the hole lay a sarcophagus, and a strange flower grew. The girl decided that she couldn't let the military finish what they started. She couldn't destroy the sarcophagus, so she decided to eat the flower. Suddenly, Anna's body became light, and her eyes seemed to gain the ability to see in the dark. Soon the military arrived, and using cables and a helicopter, lifted the sarcophagus and took it away. But suddenly one of the civilians started shouting that he also needed the flower. Without it, he would not pay the soldiers a penny. Having decided that it was Anna who stole the flower, the military rushed in pursuit of the girl. Chris speculates that Anna only became a ghost because she ate the flower. The girl's motivation for becoming a woman is very strong. She wants to take revenge on her offenders. Leo understands that he needs to figure everything out. After the revival of energy, people went crazy, and the next similar incident will not be long in coming. The king approaches the girls and tells Anna that she needs to act carefully, and since the girl is now his ghost, her problems are his problems. Leo asks Anna again if she wants to be his ghost. After a few moments, the girl confesses that she wants to serve the king and be under his protection. Chris receives a system message that a new servant task for the lion has been activated. Ever since the boy turned into a golden lion, a system was put in place that made him stronger. But nothing like this happened until Chris became the king of the Lion Mountain. The system began to send tasks and rewards for their completion. The fragments obtained for binding the ghost can help Chris return to his human form. Suddenly, he asks Anna how much she wants revenge. The girl admits that the desire for revenge is great, but she will not dare to cause trouble for her king. Anna understands that she is now a ghost and has a new home, but she really would not want her dead relatives to end up in the wasteland. Chris bares his teeth in anger. Because of some people, the poor child has gone through so much grief at such a young age. Suddenly, the lion uses his magical power again, and a small, charming lion cub appears in front of him. Chris explains that this is his avatar, and he will accompany and protect Anna. The lion blows again, and a mysterious dagger appears in a drop of magic. Chris says that this is not a simple dagger, it is incredibly sharp, and its power is the evil spirit of the king. The king notes that since the girl has a difficult path ahead, a sharp dagger will not hurt her at all. Suddenly, Wendy begins to fly around the girl, enveloping her in tongues of flame. The demon explains that on their difficult journey, they will need a bright candle to light their way. Having reached the village, Anna notices that after the military took away the sarcophagus, the black fog dispersed. Chris's avatar pensively notes that the ghost aura in this place is too strong. Suddenly, a little ahead, the company notices a lot of scattered skeletons. Anna cries that all these people were killed by the black fog. Wendy wonders how a recently deceased person can turn into a skeleton so quickly. The lion cub, using the energy of the king, says that in this evil world there should not be those who must suffer forever. Chris explains that he cleared the sadness from the souls of the dead people, and now they will be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation. After burying her neighbors, Anna hopes that they will all be able to rest in peace. Suddenly, the avatar stops the girls with a gesture. He senses 5 armed men. The soldiers are sitting in front, eating dinner and discussing how they will torture Anna when they catch her. One of the soldiers steps on the skull and says that these are the remains of her parents. She will surely come back for them. The girl is filled with wild rage. She takes out a dagger and tightly clutches it in her hands. Chris stops the girl who is about to attack and says that someone else is approaching. Suddenly, a helicopter hovers over the soldiers, and they see some shadow descending towards them on cables. The famous Jane from the Special Forces jumps to the ground and asks if it is true that the eccentric scientist only took the sarcophagus. The soldiers explain about the flower, but Jane says that the real treasure is inside the sarcophagus. According to the special agent, the sarcophagus contains the souls of 49 people who died in vain over the past 81 years. Jane takes a handful of soil from the site of the sarcophagus and says in amazement that this is the soil of 3 existences. In the cave, Chris receives a message that for discovering the soil of 3 existences, he receives the function of sinister knowledge. The king notices that with his new knowledge, he can now truly see every vein in his body. Ev is amazed to realize that he can even see the aura pulsating through his veins. One of the soldiers says he didn't know how precious this soil was and adds with a laugh that they will, of course, keep this secret. Suddenly, Jane takes out her sword and threatens that only the dead can keep secrets safely. The military is furious about the obvious threats against them and decides to teach the agent a lesson. Jane turns on the magic bracelet, and having aimed at the targets, instantly rushes into attack. Within moments, not a single soldier remains alive, and Jane mockingly says that they were no match for her. Cutting her hand with a sword, the woman drips blood onto the soil and reasons that even the treasures of the sarcophagus cannot compare with the power of the soil of 3 existences. Jane smugly notes that if it weren't for her idea to use the villagers, the pathetic scientist would have killed all his people, but would never have reached the sarcophagus. Anna cannot stand the woman's confessions and, screaming that it's all because of her, rushes into the attack. Suddenly, Jane throws her back with a powerful blow. For some reason, she was able to see the ghost. Anna subconsciously dodges the blow, and then realizes that becoming a ghost means she doesn't have to be afraid. Having stopped seeing the ghost, Jane thinks that the bracelet could not have been mistaken and reaches into the pocket of her backpack. The woman puts on glasses and sets up a connection with the bracelet. Finally, Jane sees Anna and laughs and remarks that it is just some little ghost. Anna asks in bewilderment how Jane can see her, and then shouts in rage that she will avenge the death of her parents. The girl launches a lightning attack, tightly clutching the dagger Chris gave her. Anna throws a series of very fast punches, but Jane easily parries each one. Avatar watches the fight thoughtfully. He does not understand why Jane was not scared or surprised. It turns out that this is not the first time she has met a ghost. Suddenly receiving a fairly strong blow, Anna is perplexed as to how this is possible, since she is just a ghost. Jane smugly replies that there are special knives that are meant for people like Anna. The ghost sees that the agent has a long blade range, but she has no choice but to dodge and try to attack. Jane grabs Anna by the neck with force and says that any magic or illusion is useless. Wendy tells Chris that Anna is just a little ghost who just turned and needs help. The avatar, whose eyes sparkle with magic, replies that for the sake of revenge, the girl herself must kill her enemy. Meanwhile, Anna, having managed to dodge another blow, appears behind Jane and puts a dagger to her throat. Chris, seeing the defeated enemy, says that Anna's first fight was good, and now he sees that the girl really is a ghost. Lev explains that Jane had special glasses and a bracelet that could sense the presence of someone else's aura. That's why she saw Anna. Wendy realizes that the king released his aura on purpose to confuse the agent and allow Anna to strike. Suddenly, Jane's voice is heard behind Anna, noticing what kind of assistant the girl has. Turning around sharply, the girl sees with amazement that the special agent has come back to life. Anna barely manages to put up her dagger, which deflects the sword strike. The Phantom strikes with a powerful blow from a special dagger and cuts off Jane's arm. Chris examines the woman's body and wonders if her avatar can survive the death of the body she left behind. Suddenly, the spirit of 3 existences separates from Jane's body, and a severed hand reaches out after her. Watching the woman now wield the sword, Anna thinks that the attack radius has now increased significantly, but at the same time the speed should decrease. Deciding not to wait for the spirit to come to its senses, the girl rushes into the attack. Suddenly, Jane begins to transform into a creepy monster with many tentacles emerging from her body. The tentacles grab the ghost girl, making her unable to move or defend herself. Chris thinks his avatar is also a spirit, and if he gets hurt, it will be very bad. Meanwhile, the tentacles have bound Anna's entire body and are gradually beginning to tighten around the girl's neck. Chris uses the Yang fragment, instantly appears on the scene and picks up the exhausted Anna in his arms. Seeing that the massacre of the ghost has failed, Jane begins to rage. Chris tells the girls to hold their breath, cover their ears, and try to control their heartbeat. The king lets out an incredible lion's roar, the sound wave from which will spare no one. A powerful wave hits Jane straight, and the woman dying flies far away. The king picks up Jane's sword, examines it, and not noticing a single scratch, comes to the conclusion that the weapon is quite good. After killing Jane, the lion gains a lot of new features and equipment. But looking in the mirror, Chris is angry that despite all the new attributes, he still has not returned to his human form. Anna bows before the lion and thanks him for his help, but Chris notes that the revenge is not over yet, and they still haven't figured out what kind of sarcophagus this is. Hiding his beast form under his cloak, Chris states that they need to get down the mountain to finish their investigation. Looking up, the company notices that it is almost morning and dawn is breaking. Wendy gets scared and hides under the lion's cape, screaming that she cannot appear in the sun. Before Chris could come to his senses, Anna was also there, clinging tightly to him under his cape. The king gets angry and tells the girl that she is a ghost and can enter anyone, for example, Jane's body. The group moves on, and Chris reminds Anna that if they meet someone, the girl should behave exactly like Jane. Chris and Anna go out to the helipad where the remaining soldiers are waiting for Jane. Anna announces that she has found the rock and it is time for them to go back to where they came from. After some time, the pilot reports that they have arrived in Shilin and will be landing in 10 minutes. Chris is surprised to see that, unlike the thriving Lion Mountain, the cities have fallen into disrepair after the energy was restored. The king looks at the empty city, the destroyed houses, and thinks that it all looks like the apocalypse. Having gotten rid of the soldiers, the heroes approach the huge building of the Prosperity Corporation. Wendy tells the king that he can burn everything to the ground in a couple of seconds, but the lion replies that it is just the enemy base. Chris and Anna have to eliminate the guards as quietly as possible, so as not to attract attention to themselves ahead of time. Wendy says that according to her data, the evidence they need is hidden here, and the lion regretfully notes that the jacket will be too small for him. Chris turns on the divine consciousness function to see through walls. Noticing the silhouette of a girl behind the wall, the lion says that they are not the only ones who decided to sneak into the corporation today. The king opens the door and tells Anna that he will go first, because he saw the girl with a weapon behind the wall. As soon as she noticed the door opening, the girl shot without thinking. No one has time to react, and the bullet hits Chris right in the heart. Anna, in a rage, pulls out a dagger and is about to attack the girl. Chris assures him that he is fine and is surprised to notice that Aura is used to make the bullets. The girl is horrified that the bullet hit her right in the heart and did not cause any damage, which means there is another awakened one in front of her. In desperation, the girl starts shooting in all directions, not really paying attention to where she hits. Tired of this useless noise, Chris makes just one snap of his fingers. At that very moment, the gun in the girl's hands shatters into several pieces. Leo grabs the stranger by the arms, preventing her from moving, and says that if she doesn't listen to him, then he won't vouch for himself. The girl indignantly understands that there is a werewolf in front of her. What kind of animal synthesis technology this damn corporation has come up with? Chris says that the stranger is clearly not from the corporation. So what is he doing here? The girl replies that the damned corporation illegally seized other people's projects and she came to find evidence. Suddenly, Chris notices that the girl has something hidden under her blouse. And without thinking twice, he snatches the paper. The king unfolds the paper and realizes that in front of him is a map with a lion mountain marked on it. Chris angrily thinks that his suspicions were not unfounded. They really are prowling around his territory. Suddenly, shouts are heard in the corridor that the leader of the headquarters, Mr. Smith, has arrived. A girl in the company of two men stands at the sarcophagus and asks in bewilderment why she had to come at night and use candles instead of light. Mr. Smith, director of the Shylin branch, explains that the sarcophagus may crack when exposed to light. Chris, who is watching people, decides to wait a bit with the girls and see what happens next. Tom, the captain of the corporation's security service, easily throws the sarcophagus over his shoulder and is ready to carry it wherever he is ordered. Suddenly, Miss Love turns around and points towards the exit, saying that there is someone there. Chris is surprised that the woman felt his presence, which means she is also awakened. Mr. Smith, wanting to show himself off to the secretary of the corporation's president, immediately rushes into the attack. The man is so fast that Chris does not have time to respond to his blows, although they do not cause him the slightest damage. Suddenly, Mr. Smith tries to grab the king by the hood and see who dared to come to them. Now the man understands the futility of his attacks. In front of him is not just an awakened person, but a werewolf. Smith arrogantly says that the beast's form provides additional protection, but it is unlikely to help against its light strike. The man straightens his leg with lightning speed and hits the lion in the nose. Chris doesn't move an inch. All the bones in Smith's leg are shattered. Miss Love watches the battle thoughtfully. Not understanding how this is possible if Smith is a B rank awakened, he is very strong. Tom is pleased to note that Mr. Smith is just a pathetic little dog, and the guests will certainly get into trouble now. Without thinking twice, the captain swings his arm and throws the sarcophagus at Chris with all his might. The lion catches the rarity in a few jumps and carefully places it on the floor. It never occurred to him to throw treasures. Tom, aiming for the fight, launches all the power of his muscles, of which he is incredibly proud. Running up to the king, he advises him not to test his strength and to calmly accept his death. Anna, in Jane's body, decides to intervene in the matter and stabs Tom in the chest with a dagger with all her might. Suddenly, the girl realizes that the dagger is stuck. Tom says with a grin that his muscles are so powerful that no one can harm him. Tom throws Anna aside like a feather and roars that he is invulnerable. Chris says he agrees about the strength, but what about Tom's brains, and folds his fingers, about to flick him on the head. With one click, Chris knocks Tom unconscious and the thug falls to the floor with a crash. Miss Love, who was watching everything that was happening, thought with disgust that she did not have assistants, but a couple of pathetic scum. Miss Love, a girl who lived on the streets, raised herself from the very bottom step by step. The girl took the position of secretary to the corporation's president thanks to her intelligence and was able to awaken a special ability. In a languid voice, the girl says that she's very scared. Is the lion really going to attack her? It doesn't matter whether it's a human or an animal in front of her, but no one can resist their instincts and everyone becomes her puppets. The girl looks invitingly at Chris, and at first is afraid that for some reason her charms did not work. Chris is engulfed in flames, and Miss Love realizes that he has an energy imbalance. His body consists only of yang energy, and her usual charms do not work on him. Then the girl decides to awaken lust in the lion and uses the supreme power of seduction. Something incredible happens to Chris. He is completely engulfed in flames and has lost control of himself. Anna tries to stop the king, but he throws her aside with one blow. Miss Love understands that the lion is consumed by pure lust, and it is impossible to control it. The girl tries with all her might to get everything back and revoke her spell, but she fails. Wendy tells a confused Anna that it is the fire of desire, and His Majesty is consumed by it. The demon says that the woman has upset Chris's mental balance, and now he is driven by instincts. If he does not intervene, the lion will burn her to the ground. Anna doesn't understand what to do, and Wendy replies that there is only one way out, to satisfy the lion's lust. Miss Love is engulfed in flames. She is literally burning, and her only desire is to die as soon as possible. Wendy says she knows this part of His Majesty. He is made of the purest yang, so no one can bear his lust. Anna is scared. She doesn't want to just stand there and watch Chris burn alive. Wendy says that she is the goddess of candles, and any flame, spiritual or physical, must submit to her. Perhaps she will endure. The demon turns on the flame absorption function and begins to fly around Chris, calling his flames onto himself. After hugging the lion, Wendy finally absorbs his flame, taking on a very unusual appearance. Chris falls unconscious to the floor, and Miss Love, barely surviving, thinks about how strong the lion is if he almost burned to death from his own lust. Anna runs up to the girl and, holding a dagger to her throat, orders her not to move. Chris comes to, clutches his throbbing head, and asks in bewilderment why he went limp. Seeing Wendy, the lion is amazed at what she has become. Having absorbed his lust, the girl calms the king and says that as soon as she digests everything, she will return to her previous state. Miss Love falls to her knees before Chris, bows to his strength, begs for mercy, and promises to do whatever he orders. Chris asks why they needed the sarcophagus, what use it is. The girl admits that she doesn't know all the details. She only knows that it is a magical weapon of reincarnation. Miss Love heard that ancient secrets are written inside it, and if you lie in it, you can learn all of them and be reincarnated. Chris understands that this is very dangerous. If you learn all the secrets of the sarcophagus, you can go crazy and your body will turn to dust. Suddenly, Anna turns to the king and asks him to let her try. A system message arrives that the ghost's mission is complete. The chance of success in the sarcophagus test is significantly increased. Anna says that her life belongs to the king, and if she does not do this, then how can she call herself his ghost? Chris thinks for a few moments and, after weighing all the risks, ultimately agrees. Anna lies down in the sarcophagus, and Chris activates the flame of the heart and the flame of the soul. Leo instructs the girl, says that if she ends up inside and something goes wrong, then let her give a sign and he will immediately pull her out of there. The girl lies down, closes her eyes, and suddenly everything around her bursts into a bright pink flame. Anna, in her human form, finds herself on the edge of her village. At the threshold of the house, Mom and Dad wave to the girl and say that it's time for dinner. Anna understands that this is a lie, that she must try with all her might not to let herself be deceived. The girl convinces herself that this is an illusion, but she cannot resist and goes to meet her parents. Chris has a blue flame burning on his paw, and he explains to Wendy that as long as the flame burns evenly, everything is fine. Suddenly, Wendy announces that the sun will rise soon, and if Anna does not wake up, she will be bewitched. Watching the flames, Chris reports that the girl is struggling. Although the fire is still burning, it is very difficult for her to resist the charms of the sarcophagus. The king decides to intervene, touches Anna, releases his energy, decides to bring her back. The girl opens her eyes, looks at him with confusion, and then finally recognizes Chris. Wendy cries out in alarm that things are bad because the sun has already risen. Suddenly, the girl's body arches and magical rays of light pierce her from all sides. Anna opens her eyes, and instead of pupils, little golden suns shimmer in them. The ghost doesn't understand what's happening to her, and Wendy joyfully shouts that the girl succeeded. The girls happily embrace their king, rejoicing that at least this danger has passed. Miss Love sarcastically congratulates the heroes on their touching reunion, saying that she has nothing more to do here and can leave. Suddenly, Wendy angrily grabs Miss Love by the ear and says that she will not let her leave, asking Chris what he's going to do with her. The leader thinks the girl awakened his instincts and forced him to use a special technique, but thanks to this, his skills increased. Leo suddenly says that he needs help to become better until he achieves greatness. The girl is in shock. She was prepared for the most terrible punishments and did not expect to hear such words. After some time, the entire company watches as the majestic corporation building burns beautifully. The next morning, Chris receives a message that the second stage of energy restoration has finally begun, and he needs to push his boundaries as far as possible. Suddenly, a message appears that if Chris does not expand his territory within the allotted time, his body will not be able to withstand the flow of aura, and he will die. The king thinks that he hasn't explored his territory much before. It's time to use his special skill and try it out. Turning on the demon's consciousness, the lion is amazed that he can now see the flow of energy throughout the Lion Mountain. Suddenly, Chris notices that the golden tree is broken, but it was supposed to be guarded by lizards. Noticing a dead lizard, the king lets out a menacing roar. No one dares to invade his domain and kill animals with impunity. Chris decides to follow the alien's energy trail and thus discover him. After following the flow of energy for a long time, the lion eventually sees some strange ground beetle that has left him. Chris is furious that some insect has knocked down the golden tree, the root of the spiritual power of the Lion Mountain. The golden tree blooms and bears fruit once every 10 years, and eating its fruit can give you the power of a demon for the next 30 years. The king calls upon his subjects, the monsters of the Lion Mountain, and urges them to go to battle. The barely alive guardian of the Golden Peak and the monster of the Lion Mountain barely recognize their comrades. The Himalayan bear tells the king that the lizard can still be saved. Suddenly, the animals see the arthropod monsters that the king saw starting to crawl out of a hole in the ground and start hissing at him. Amazed by such impudence, Chris is about to attack the creatures with a lion's roar. But then the green snake asks to be allowed to deal with the impudent insects. It is not proper for the king to dirty his hands with them. The snake rushes into attack and destroys the strange creatures one by one. The lizard, having come to his senses, asks the king for forgiveness for not saving the tree. Chris asks where these bastards came from. It turns out that it was previously an ordinary earthworm, but during the restoration of energy, it began to mutate, went berserk, and completely got out of control. The snake understands that it is not so easy for her to cope with these creatures. While she attacks one, the others pounce on her. The snake notices that the more creatures it kills, the more new ones crawl out of the hole. The snake worked hard for His Majesty day and night. Now it's time to show everything it can do. Having launched the transformation, the snake takes the form of a sea serpent, an incredible dragon. By using the breathcaster function, the dragon gets rid of all the creatures in an instant. The animals are amazed. No one has ever seen this form of snake. Suddenly, the creatures, having come to their senses after being stunned, run into the hole. The green snake rushes after them with lightning speed, hoping to catch up with the creatures and destroy them completely. By turning on one of the functions, Chris understands that below are the power lines of the Lion Mountain, and if they are damaged, the consequences will be dire. Having descended into the hole with their subjects, the animals find a confused snake. The reptile reports that the creatures have fled because they are guided by their cover, and her sense of smell is interrupted by the aura of spiritual power. Turning on the devilish consciousness, Chris understands that the first restoration took place above, and the second in the bowels of the earth. Suddenly, the lion notices that some ancient writings appear on the walls. The whole place looks like a lion's den. Moving forward, the animals see many corpses of the recent creatures that they came here for. Suddenly, an incredible red Chinese umbrella appears over the mountain of corpses. The umbrella rises to reveal a young girl who says they made it just in time. Suddenly, the bear sees that all his subordinates fall to the ground. With a roar, he asks the girl if this is her doing. Red Gwen sarcastically says that she doesn't like to throw away food, but unfortunately, she won't be able to eat all of this. The bear, turning on all his power, rushes at the girl, but Gwen paralyzes him with one movement of her umbrella. The parrot and the white fox do not leave the commander in trouble and rush to his rescue. The girl uses an umbrella to create a toxic stream of smoke and gets rid of the animals, laughing that the stupid animals are only good for food. Chris menacingly says that it is true that lions do not show their full strength, which is probably why Gwen treats him like a sick kitten. The girl laughs and says that the lion is just an ordinary stupid kitten. The king cannot tolerate such impudence. The famous lion's roar is heard. But Gwen opens her red umbrella, which turns out to be an impenetrable shield. Chris continues to roar, sending more and more sound waves towards the girl. Suddenly, the umbrella folds sharply and sticks into the ground next to the lion, who has fallen silent with surprise. Hidden Gwen understands that she cannot cope with the lion on her own. The question is what he is ready to do for the sake of his friends. Suddenly, the red umbrella opens and rises into the air, enveloped in magical red flames. Gwen uses the absorption function, and all of Chris's friends start to get sucked under the umbrella. The umbrella flies straight at the king, but the snake intercepts it and tries to destroy it. The magic of the red umbrella wounds the snake, and then the Himalayan bear rushes to its rescue, using the power of wild nature. Chris remembers when he and his subjects were very young, they swore an oath to protect each other. The king is furious and demands that Gwen let his friends go and fight him herself. Suddenly, the lion feels that the atmosphere has changed and it is difficult for him to move. The king rushes at the umbrella and begins to tear it with his powerful teeth. But the villainess explains that the base of the umbrella is made of an ancient divine tree and cannot be destroyed. Leo hears with alarm that if he manages to break the umbrella, he will never see his comrades again. Gwen boasts that her umbrella is capable of absorbing any living being, no matter who they are, instantly turning into pus and blood. If Chris wants the witch to let his friends go, he must be an obedient cat and lick her feet. The king is simply furious at such impudence. He is ready to tear the girl to shreds, but first he needs to help his friends. The girl brazenly stretches her leg towards the lion and remarks that if he doesn't turn into a human, He won't be able to open the umbrella without normal hands. Scenes from his childhood flash before Chris's eyes. His friends were always there for him and were loyal to him. Gwen urges the lion. If he doesn't hurry, his friends will turn into blood clots. The lion has almost bowed his head to his leg. Suddenly, someone from Gwen's side grabs her red umbrella with force. Feeling the energy, the girl understands that the king of beasts deceived her. All this time, his avatar was sitting in front of her. Anna and Wendy immediately fly up to Chris, shouting that they are back. The king takes the umbrella in his hands and says that if you believe the words of the witch, you need to open the umbrella, and his friends will return. The girl, in horror, stretches out her hands towards him and screams for the lion to stop and not do this. The king begins to open the umbrella and the girl's body shakes with pain. In the middle, the umbrella gets stuck and Chris starts to tug at it with force, not understanding what is stuck in it. Gwen's eyes roll back in unbearable pain and she begs the lion to stop. There is a pop, and the king opens his red umbrella with all his might. The girl screams in unbearable pain. She and the umbrella are connected by a strange magical bond. Chris's friends fall out of the open umbrella onto the ground, and he breathes a sigh of relief. Wendy, having checked the condition of the animals, reports that there is nothing serious with them. They simply lost consciousness and will soon come to their senses. Gwen admits that she has never met such strong enemies. She became a monster several hundred years ago, and no one has ever defeated her so easily. The girl quickly runs away, shouting at the end that she will gather strength and the lion will still kneel before her and admit defeat. Chris and Anna decide to pursue Gwen, fearing even more trouble if she decides to return. Leaving their friends in Wendy's care, the lion and the ghost set off in pursuit. The heroes chased Gwen to the edge of the cliff, but before the abyss, the sorceress made a sharp jump and flew into the air. Chris runs up and makes a giant, powerful leap, pushing off the ground with all four paws. As Chris soars into the air with Anna on his back, he suddenly remembers that he has no flight function and falls down like a stone. Frozen in midair, Gwen shudders with laughter. It turns out the little kitten can't fly. Chris instantly turns on the golden flame stream function and rushes at the villain. A huge fiery silhouette tries to grab Gwen, burning her with its flames. The girl understands that the lion has a hell of a lot of tricks, and that it is not worth staying here while she is still in one piece. Moments later, not a tear was left from the girl. Only a distant voice could be heard saying that she and the cat would see each other again. A frustrated Chris tells Anna that the umbrella could contain anything, and he won't feel safe if Gwen managed to escape. Anna wondered if she would ever be able to fly, and if she had any powers after being in the sarcophagus. The girl remembers that she constantly heard some kind of voice in the sarcophagus, but she cannot remember the words. Suddenly, the girl remembers that she received the gift with the help of the creatures that live in the sarcophagus. And what she heard were not words at all, but a formula for a new life. As soon as Anna remembered everything, the ghost's transformation began. The girl explains to the surprised Chris that she remembered everything and now she can transform, and therefore asks the king to send her in pursuit of the devil. Lev says that Anna's new gift needs constant spiritual nourishment, and in his opinion, the girl should train more. Chris says that the devil Gwen is not so simple, gives Anna a drop of blood surrounded by a force field, and promises that it will protect the girl. Anna is determined and assures the king that she will certainly cope with everything. Until late at night, the ghost chases the devil across the sky above Lion Mountain. Having caught up with Gwen once again, Anna uses the lion's dagger to attack the umbrella that she is using as a shield. The red devil is puzzled as to how the little ghost managed to damage her umbrella. Anna happily replies that this dagger was given to her by His Majesty, so the villainess's umbrella is absolutely useless. Gwen, without thinking twice, turns on the absorption function, and Anna is instantly sucked into the umbrella. Having fallen through time and space, the girl crashes into the wall with all her might. It turns out that inside the umbrella there is an endless ancient city where Anna ended up. Suddenly, the girl notices how a strange fog is creeping towards her from all sides, which has a corrosive effect and eats away at her aura. Anna understands that the longer she stays in this city, the less chance she has of getting out of here alive. Suddenly, in one of the gateways, the ghost notices a bloody pile of monsters and victims. The girl runs even faster, thinking that she needs to get out of here immediately. After running for quite a long time, Anna again runs into a bunch of monsters and does not understand why she ended up here again. The girl comes up with the idea that the most dangerous places are actually the safest, and she rushes up into the fog. But after flying through the fog, Anna crashes into the wall again. Looking around, the ghost sees that gravity has changed, the sky has become the earth, and the earth has become the sky. Noticing Gwen's silhouette, the girl realizes that the villain has complete control over everything that happens in the city. Anna recalls that last time everyone managed to return only after His Majesty opened his umbrella. Giving in to despair, the girl realizes that she has failed her king again, but suddenly remembers the drop of blood he gave her. Anna bursts a drop of blood, and suddenly her little magic dagger turns into a huge sword, endowed with magical powers. The ghost understands that he cannot give up for the sake of the king, takes the sword and draws it with all his might along the wall. A deep crack appears in the wall and screams are heard, which clearly indicate pain. And then Anna realizes that all of Gwen's manifestations are just an illusion, and her real body is that very red umbrella. The ghost gathers all his spiritual power, and even if it does not win this battle, it will help His Majesty get rid of the trash. Once tuned in, Anna turns on the secret death technique function. Using an attack from above, the girl begins to smash the wall with all her might. Gwen winces in pain, strangely. The ghost simply ignores the corrosion and continues to attack her. Anna, looking more like a devil, realizes that her plan is working because the fog has begun to clear. Gwen is suffering more and more. But realizing that the lion is still chasing her, she knows that she cannot give up and stop now. The villainess, having turned on blood coagulation, summons bloody warriors who stand like a wall in front of Anna. Anna, indignantly, thinks that these warriors are the souls of those who were absorbed by the witch, and she is meanly using them. The girl has no choice, and she begins to crush the warriors one after another with passion. On Lion Mountain, Chris feels that the ghost's development is too superficial for the legacy of the gift she has been given. If Anna can't control the power, the consequences will be very serious. It took the ghost only a few minutes to get rid of the warriors and destroy everything around him. The power begins to change Anna, her bloody eyes sparkling. She understands that she does not have enough blood. She wants to kill more. Watching what is happening, Gwen understands that the demon's power is not enough to deal with the ghost. The smartest thing would be to retreat. People look ahead and realize that they have finally reached the Lion Mountain. A group of scientists rise up and argue that the government has taken away all their projects. Team leader Bing says the second wave of recovery has begun, and now is the time to grab resources. Bing's employee is afraid that their expedition might be discovered, and their project was transferred to another company. Suddenly, scientists notice a strange glowing silhouette ahead. In the clearing stands the ghost of Anna, whom Gwen released from her strange city and carried to the foot of the Lion Mountain. Bing decides that he is facing a competitor from another company and needs to destroy it as quickly as possible. The scientist jumps and attacks Anna, who is standing still using an ice strike. As soon as the man reached out his hand through the force field, the girl cuts off his hand with one lightning-fast blow. Not expecting such aggression from the little ghost girl, Bing screams in pain and horror. His henchmen, wanting to avenge their boss and show who is boss, grab their weapons and attack the girl. Just a moment later, Anna stands over the corpses and admires how wonderful the blood smells. Chris appears and tries to stop Anna, shouting that she will not be able to return to her previous appearance if she drinks human blood. But the girl is not herself. She is completely obsessed with power and does not hear the lion. Chris sees no other way out and lets out a lion's roar, spreading a powerful sound wave. Suddenly, Anna seems to split in two, one entity trying not to let go of the other. In the end, the girl falls exhausted onto the side of the approaching lion. Chris, looking at the girl, thinks that he did not want such tests for her, but she will undoubtedly be able to protect herself when she becomes stronger. While examining the corpses of the scientists, the king notices with concern that more and more people are appearing on the Lion Mountain. Having come to her senses, Anna asks the king for forgiveness for having let him down once again, but that witch was too strong. The lion assures the ghost that everything is fine, even though the villainess has escaped. Suddenly, Chris receives a message that he has something stuck between his teeth. The lion clears his mouth with his claws and sees that a piece of a red umbrella, a fragment of magic brocade, is stuck in his mouth. Chris wonders if this piece can be used to find Gwen, although she is an excellent hider and it will not be easy to find her. Having summoned the fiery torch, the lion sees that the fabric is endlessly restored, which means that even far from the umbrella, the witch maintains a connection with it. The next morning, the animals look at the two girls with interest and thank His Majesty for the food he sent. Miss Love and Erica angrily scream at the vile animals to let them go. They are not food. Chris tells Erica that the entire group of scientists she was a part of was killed by a demon with an umbrella. Seeing Erica's tears, the lion softly says that he could not do anything. When he arrived at the scene, the killer had already disappeared. The king, showing Anna, says that from the whole group, only one girl remained alive and asks if Erica recognizes her. Suddenly, Erica throws herself on Anna's neck and screams that she is very glad that she is still alive. A puzzled Anna realizes that the girl, thanks to the parrot, is under hypnosis according to Chris's plan. Sign admits that she's not sure about the lion's plan, but if His Majesty wants her to infiltrate the corporation undercover, then it is time for him and Erica to get down from the mountain. Miss Love is upset that the two girls are simply being released while she is still being held hostage. Chris explains that she must stay and help him with the practices and tells him to take the girl to the cave. The king tells the girls to take the fruits of the golden tree with them. The lion explains that all the animals will get their share because they need to make every effort to expand the territory of the Lion Mountain. The entire Lion Mountain was mobilized for the expansion operation. Their team was invincible. They quickly destroyed all the monsters in the area. The beasts not only expanded their territory, but also recruited many new subordinates, making Chris stronger. In just a few days, the Lion Mountain grew by tens of kilometers. Thanks to the completion of the mission, the king receives numerous rewards. Chris hopes that the meridian will soon be fully opened. Meanwhile, Anna infiltrated the corporation as a spy for the construction and engineering group. 60 kilometers from the Lion Mountain on the Baihu Ridge sits a white mountain tiger with his minions. The turtle notices that the Lion Mountain has become very active lately, and their borders have almost reached their ridge. The white tiger calmly says that they must use the second stage of energy restoration. But they can't come empty-handed. They need to prepare a gift for the meeting. Chris looks at the statistics with pleasure. Now he can fully master the skills of gathering ki and mountain resistance, and he also has a fragment of yang. Suddenly, a notification comes that one of the territories is lost. Chris shouts from the mountain to the bear about the loss of territory and orders him to deal with it immediately. Lev doesn't understand what's going on. There were no problems from that territory. Perhaps the system failed. The king admits that he might have missed something and decides to inspect the territory himself. One after another, reports of loss of territory come in. Chris understands that most likely this is some kind of diversionary maneuver. Turning on the demon's consciousness, the king penetrates underground and sees thousands of earth rats. The king uses the mountain's resistance and the earth's tremors, and a huge crack appears on the ground. Looking into the widening crack, the animals see not thousands, but millions of rats. The green snake says that there were never so many rats here before. They are her clan's favorite delicacy, so she targets their aura. Suddenly, the rats unite into an organized stream and rush to attack the company of animals. The beasts turn on all their functions: wild power, feathered arrows of the universe, and the snake is simply trying to eat as many rats as possible. Suddenly, the rats are sucked into some strange whirlpool, forming a large tower. Moments later, the Rat King appears before the animals in full form. A huge beast crushes everything in its path, and the lion orders the animals to run. Turning around, Chris lets out a lion's roar, releasing a powerful beam of light. The beam instantly pierces the Rat King's body right through the middle. The mountain white tiger, watching the events, remarks with a smile that the lion has strong destructive power, but it is not enough. The defeated Rat King disintegrates into millions of ordinary rats. The rats run underground at great speed, through the crack created by the Lion King. Chris notes that the rats themselves are weak, but they have numbers, and it would be great if they were hit by an earthquake. The tiger ironically notes that mountain rats live under all the rocks, and why doesn't the lion just lift the Lion Mountain? Chris calls upon the yeast function of the earth, hoping to kill the rats in this way. But at some point the lion realizes that the rats have penetrated too deep, and his attempt will not be successful. Suddenly, all the animals gather themselves and without hesitation rush to attack for their king and their home. The snake notes that her clan knows the mountain rats better than anyone else. They are social animals, and they consciously unite only for some purpose. Moving deeper, the reptile says that when hunting rats, they run away, and they can only unite in one formation. The only way rats can unite is to become a rat king. The bear notes that Chris has already killed the king, but the snake says that the Rat King was just a bunch of mice, and she is talking about their boss. Only by destroying the Rat King will they be able to win. Suddenly, the snake notices a huge rat and, using a poisonous bite, pounces on the rat. Noticing that the behavior of the other rats has not changed, the snake realizes that it was not the Rat King, but simply a large individual. The armadillo notes that if the rat boss wants to hide, he won't show himself so easily. Suddenly, the rats penetrate even deeper into the ground and begin to gnaw the most important thing with fury. Chris is furious. The rats have reached the meridians, and it's only a matter of time before they damage them irreversibly. The bear tells Miss Love that the lion rock has been taken over by rats and the ruler wants her to find the Rat King. Lev explains to the bewildered girl that she needs to help find the Rat King and then activate Chris's animal lust. Miss Love remembers well what happened last time, when the lion's lust turned out, and does not want to repeat it again. Chris screams that he doesn't have time to explain. He will be able to completely control his instincts. The girl obeys the king, but feels very strange seeing Chris in his lion form. The fire engulfs the beast. He feels incredible energy, but this time he really has everything under control. Chris turns on the divine fire function. He uses his meridians underground to look as deep as possible. The king now sees all the rats and thinks that he now has enough strength to burn them all. Watching his opponent's actions, the mountain tiger grins and notices that he relaxed too early. With a roar, the tiger menacingly screams that the real horror that mountain rats bring is just beginning. Chris, watching the rats, angrily realizes that they continue to bite the veins of the earth. The king does not know what to do. Neither he nor his subjects can penetrate as deep as rats. The lion fears that he will not be able to protect the entire Lion Mountain. Chris thinks and realizes that he has only one way out. Leo uses the full extension of the demonic authority function. Chris looks around with pity and realizes that because of the enabled function, he hurt his friends. Suddenly, a green snake jumps out from under the ground. Fortunately, it managed to avoid injury. Chris reasons that looking for the Rat King is like looking for a needle in a haystack. The king was able to suppress his powers for a while, but this time is limited. As the lion rushes forward, he thinks that his original goal was to expand his territory, not to resist the Rat King. Chris is confident that after completing the system's task, he will be able to master the return of 10,000 QE and the shift of the mountain. With these functions, he will be able to expel the enemy. Running to the border of his territories, the king tells the snake that the key to everything is the mountain white tiger. The tiger, realizing that he has been discovered, shouts that he is giving a counterfight to his opponent. Two formidable opponents face each other, and a battle is inevitable. Tiger senses that the Lord of the Lion Mountain has supernatural powers. He is an excellent opponent. Chris feels the aura changing. Disasters are resuming. The mountain tiger is well prepared. A difficult fight lies ahead. The opponents rush to attack and almost simultaneously emit roars that emit a powerful sound wave. Two magical waves collide with each other, no less powerful. Suddenly, at the sight of the collision of energies, a powerful explosion is heard, blinding everyone around. The predators, looking at each other, understand that each of them has demonic prestige. Both rivals and their assistants rush towards each other with the sole thought of killing the enemy. The tiger jumps first and in a rage unleashes a powerful blow on his opponent. The lion suddenly dodges and hits his opponent with a Beast Lord blow in response. The tiger flies back and wonders in bewilderment how this is possible. He did not expect that the lion had enough strength to resist him. The lion's strength lies in the fact that he was once a human, and his energy is being restored for the second time. The tiger does not give up. Running up, he attacks the enemy again, and this time the blow reaches its target. Chris is furious. It turns out that his opponent has the same abilities as he does. With a lightning-fast leap, the fly activates its power and strikes the tiger with a backhand. The enemies begin to attack each other with such speed that only sparkling magical lightning can be seen. Chris, without stopping for a second, thinks that this is the first time he has met such a strong opponent. The white tiger realizes that it is useless to hit the opponent and activates the 5 lightning strike. The green snake watches the battle. It understands that it cannot get involved in this fight, but it must somehow help its master. The snake takes the form of a dragon, furious that someone dared to fight against its king. Letting out a powerful dragon roar, the reptile hides its master from the eyes of its rival. His subordinate turtle comes to the aid of his tiger and activates the capture function. A stork attacks the dragon from above and says that if she really wants to fight, then let her attack them with the turtle first. The lion is distracted by the snake, but the tiger doesn't give him a break, smirking and stating that Chris doesn't have time to worry about others. Running up, the tiger releases its sharp claws and attacks the king of the Lion Mountain right in the side. Chris is furious. He has only activated half of his power since the start of the battle, but now it's time to teach the enemy a lesson, leaving him no chance. But suddenly the lion receives a message from the system that his strength, speed, and endurance are blocked. The tiger mockingly says that the lion is afraid, and as long as this fear is present in his soul, he will not defeat the tiger. This is where his ability lies. Chris suddenly feels the power of demonic pressure. He does not understand what is happening. Everything doubles before his eyes. Bullying is the mockery of the strong against the weak. But the weak are not born to obey the strong. As long as the victim feels fear, then even if it is stronger and larger, nothing will change. Such is the law of nature. Using ever more powerful pressure force, the tiger in rage commands to feel the power of the master. Chris realizes that he can't use his techniques. It's all because of the tiger's soul. The lion is completely under its influence. Leo decides that the safest thing to do for now is to keep his distance. But the tiger does not let go of his enemy. Making a powerful jump, the opponent flies a great distance and finds himself in front of the astonished lion. Chris resists with all his might, repelling endless attacks and landing blows of his own. Receiving messages from the system, the king is amazed to see that the attributes, although blocked, continue to increase. At this time, the dragon continues to fight with the tiger's assistance, but suddenly feels cold and a strange heaviness in her body, which prevents her from moving, but she is not going to give up. The dragon flies into the air, and the turtle realizes that this is beyond her capabilities. But in the air, a fast stork begins to attack the dragon, and the dragon orders him to get out of the way. But the stork, with all its might, pierces the dragon's body with its sharp beak and flies through it. The stork mockingly informs that the turtle is the white tiger's protection, and the dragon has already fallen under the influence of its dark water technique, which disperses energy. The dragon realizes that she has only one trump card left and summons a dragon storm. The turtle sees thunderclouds gathering in the sky and decides that this is how the dragon wants to hide. Distracted by the thunderstorm, the turtle does not notice the dragon and instead wraps itself around its rival's body, depriving her of the ability to move. The dragon sinks his teeth into the shell, but the turtle understands the futility of this because its shell absorbs all attacks. But the dragon didn't even think about trying to bite through the shell. With a sharp movement, she knocked the turtle over, depriving it of the opportunity to get up. The turtle can't turn around, and then she realizes that the fog enveloping her is poisonous. Hearing that the turtle is being attacked, but unable to see what is happening due to the fog, the stork flies down at full speed, intending to attack the dragon. The stork does not hear the turtle's desperate cries that the dragon is not in the fog, and pierces the neck of his comrade with all his might. The fog clears and the stork realizes with horror that his attack has decapitated the turtle. The dragon that flew up immediately launched an attack, and thinking that without protection even the spear would break, dealt with the bird. Chris needs to think, and he activates a golden vacuum around himself, which reflects all the tiger's attacks. The tiger bites and scratches the golden ball in rage. He is perplexed, because while the animals are under his pressure, they cannot resist. Suddenly, Chris turns to his opponent and calmly asks if he has the same system. The tiger doesn't understand what's going on. He can't believe that he can't break the lion. Deciding to use its full potential, the mountain beast summons a force storm. All of Chris's fur becomes electrified and stands on end. The lion does not understand what the enemy is planning. With a cry of death, the tiger activates the thunder of the western skies and directs a terrifying blow straight at the opponent. Hearing the roar of the lion, the tiger screams in rage that the rival must disappear. At the sight of the hellish blow where the lion stood, a giant crater formed in the ground. Noticing the golden ball emerging, the tiger is confused and thinks that the shield should have cracked due to the force of the impact and the power of the temperature. The ball suddenly picks up speed and hisses as it rises into the air. A lion appears next to the ball, which has managed to transform during this time. The tiger is puzzled how the lion managed to remain safe and sound and what this golden ball is. Chris receives a message that he has received the demon pill and now has access to the first-level thunderstrike. Ominous storm clouds gather over the lion's head, and the white tiger decides to take advantage of the storm first. Seeing the lightning bolts flying, the king decides to take advantage of the mountain's movement and create a barrier to allow electricity to pass into the ground. Receiving the system's offer to take the pill, Chris understands that the system itself created it, and he has a chance to survive this storm. Having received a powerful lightning strike, the lion tells the tiger that his opponent only filled his demonic pill. But the enemy does not give up. The tiger flaps its wings and flies towards the king with the desire to kill him. The tiger strikes the overconfident lion with all his might, who is not expecting such a direct blow. Chris hits the ground with all his might and shakes his head for a long time, trying to come to his senses. Leo sees that despite the fact that he was able to use the pill, all of his indicators remained blocked. The king remembers the turtle's words that as long as there is even a grain of fear of the tiger, the enemy will not be able to defeat him. Miss Love has the same abilities, no matter if the person in front of her is a human or an animal. If the individual is male, he will become her slave. Realizing that the pill's effect has worn off, the tiger unleashes a thunderous roar of light at his opponent. But the lion uses protection like a Faraday cage and easily withstands the attack. Chris notices that the thunder's power no longer affects him, and despite his suppression skills, the tiger can no longer control him. The lion releases an extended golden vine that instantly entangles the opponent. The mountain predator was so surprised by such an attack that at first he could not even resist. The vine, blazing with hellish flames, binds the tiger more and more tightly, depriving him of even the slightest opportunity to move. Suddenly in the distance, the tiger notices the Rat King and calls out to his subject. At the same moment, hordes of rats appear, covering the ground with a solid living carpet. Leo is furious, calling on fire magic. He decides that it is time to end this battle. The tiger smiles contentedly. The lion mountain is directly connected with its king, and if it is damaged, the lion also suffers. The predator orders the Rat King to start gnawing through the lion mountain. Suddenly, the Rat King comes up to Chris and asks in surprise if it is him. Leo remembers that many years ago a green snake hunted a small rat. Having driven the rodent into Chris's cave, the snake began to prowl there in search of prey. The lion was the first to catch the rat, and the snake said that if that was the case, then the prey undoubtedly belonged to the ruler. But the king says that under the influence of energy, the rat mutated like the other animals, and he does not want to eat a creature that possesses spiritual wisdom. The little rat frantically thanks the master and promises that the day will come when he will be able to repay in full. And now in front of Chris stands that same little rat who became the king of the rats. The lion thoughtfully notes that the Rat King is now under the influence of the white tiger. But the little rodent bravely declares that the moment has come when he can repay his debt to His Majesty. The rodent presses its fingers to its head and mentally calls on its fellows to become active and return to their territory. The mountain tiger is furious, as if some pathetic rodent had decided to betray him and go over to the enemy's side. The tiger's gigantic force begins to press on the rat, and the rodent's nose starts to bleed from the tension, but he does not give in. The tiger confidently says that the rodent is already under his influence and will not be able to resist him, so the only thing the rat can do is obey the tiger's orders. Chris states that the true ruler is the one who cares about his people, is the bearer of their will, and the tiger will never become one. The lion threatens that instead of relying on threats and violence, the tiger should try something better. The king of Lion Mountain uses demonic power with the function of purification, leaving no chance for the opponent. But the mountain beast does not give up. It uses the same power but with the suppression function. Summoning all their might and strength, the rivals confront each other with their last strength. The little Rat King tries his best to resist the pressure, because if he loses consciousness, the rats will continue to attack the Lion Mountain. Suddenly, the white tiger, having lost his influence over yet another of his subjects, falls to the ground, exhausted. Chris receives messages about defeating the tiger and conquering new territory. The Rat King, freed from oppression, turns on the rat call, the recall function. On Lion Mountain, the bear and the parrot watch in amazement as the rats leave the bowels of the earth and scatter in different directions. The lion and the rat, completely exhausted, slowly wander away, when suddenly the voice of the tiger is heard behind them. The tiger slowly approaches the heroes, its head hanging low. Chris turns around in horror. Is his opponent really alive? The lion no longer has the strength to attack. The predator says that he must bow his head before his master. From now on, the lion will be the king, and the tiger his queen. The lion and the rat are completely amazed that the mountain white tiger really is a tigress. The tigress asks Chris if the queen's place next to him is still taken. The king is completely demoralized, but he certainly doesn't intend to start a family in the body of a lion. At the entrance to the ruins of the Red Umbrella, people gather, having arrived by car or by helicopter. Anna and Erica are part of a research team sent into the ruins. A large research team heads into the cave. The girls, expecting danger at any moment, keep their weapons at the ready. Tony hands Anna his gun and says that times have changed a long time ago, and one must choose a weapon wisely. The group approaches some strange stone blocking the passage. One of the guys says that according to the radars, there should be a large space behind the stone. Suddenly, the strange stone begins to spin at a furious speed. Tony, confidently relying on his strength, rests his hands on the stone and tries to move it from its place. To increase his strength many times over, the guy transforms into a fierce wild boar. The beast begins to squeeze the stone with all its might, and at some point it cracks. There is a crash. The stone cracks in half, and a huge larva of some kind of beetle falls out of it. At the same moment, large bats fly out of the opened passage and attack Tony. Erica, using bullets from her aura, begins shooting at the bats. The boar breathes a sigh of relief and naively thinks that the girl saved him solely out of personal sympathy. The group moves further, and before their eyes opens a large cave with a huge geisha castle. Geishas begin to look out from the rooms of the palace and joyfully shout that they have guests. Looking at one of the girls, Anna thinks she sees a familiar face. Tony's eyes light up with a strange flame, and he rushes forward towards the girls. The group leader stops him and tells him to be careful, but the boar is clearly under some kind of spell. He rushes towards one of the geishas, not noticing anything around him. At one point, other geishas surround the men and begin to lure them into the castle. Suddenly, a strange fog appears around Tony, crawling into his nose and mouth. Instantly sobering up, Tony looks into the geisha's devilish eyes and realizes that she is sucking the yin energy out of him. The boar gradually loses its animal appearance and screams to the commander asking for help. Geishas, having stopped pretending to be girls in love, attack men with poisoned fog. The group's leader, not having succumbed to the charm, rushes to the men's defense, but one of the girls tries to stop him. The commander glows with magical power, pushes the girl away, and shouts that their spirits cannot defeat him. The geisha knows that even the most steadfast men cannot resist their charms and continues to seduce. The commander begins to shake. The blood rushes, and he realizes that he is holding on with his last strength. Anna thinks that all this is happening near the Lion Mountain, so she needs to urgently inform the ruler. The girl begins to take on the form of a ghost in the hope of flying away, but then one of the geishas grabs her hand. Anna turns around in surprise and realizes that the geisha is absorbing her spirit. The girl looks intently at Anna and says that once she has come, there is no turning back. Meanwhile, on the Lion Mountain, the tigress has seriously decided to mate with the lion and dreams that their offspring will be the strongest of all. Chris doesn't know how to avoid an awkward situation and justifies himself by saying that he first needs to deal with the ongoing turmoil. Suddenly, one of the burning candles changes its appearance and anxiously announces that things are bad. The flame turns into Wendy, who reveals that Anna's heart, which she holds in her hands, is slowly disappearing. Chris lights the holy fire to see for himself what is happening to his ghost. In the fire, the king sees two girls as part of a group entering ancient ruins. Then everything disappears. The king decides to personally sort everything out. Having spent a fragment of yin, Chris once again transforms, having changed his appearance quite significantly. The tigress realizes that while white tigers transform into divine beasts, Chris is gradually turning into a human. The tigress wants the king to be possessed only, and it seems to her that there is only one way to get what she wants. The geisha holds Anna's hand tightly and quickly flies towards the castle. Along the way, Erica manages to grab the ghost by the hand, and now the geisha is carrying both of them. Landing in front of the castle, the girls hear a voice from one of the balconies greeting them. Anna looks closely at the girl above and finally realizes that it is Red Gwen in front of her. The villainess also recognizes Anna and angrily shouts what the hell the girl is doing here. Without hesitation, Anna takes on her devilish form, and having enlarged her dagger to the size of a sword, immediately rushes into the attack. The girls' hatred for each other is so strong that lightning begins to spark between them. Anna threatens that now she will take revenge on the villain, but Gwen is amazed at the impudence. The ghost has invaded her house and is threatening her. Erica realizes that her eyes simply can't keep up with the lightning-fast movements of the two girls, so she only sees bright flashes of light. The other geishas are horrified and demand that the fight be stopped. If the noise disturbs their mistress, then no one will be spared. Suddenly, Anna and Gwen freeze as a scream echoes through the cavern, demanding that the battle stop. The doors open and Bat, the head of the geisha pavilion in the ancient ruins, appears on the threshold. Anna feels such powerful demonic energy from the mistress that she even finds it difficult to breathe. There's something clearly wrong with Madame Bat. She's been cultivated for 1,000 years. Realizing that in a fight with Beth, Anna will be left without a soul, she abruptly falls to her knees, asks for forgiveness for her outrages, and asks to let her and Erica go. Madame Beth laughs. The girls are so young that they haven't even learned to talk properly. The lady says that she will let the girls go, but only if they help her get out of here. Beth says that her soul is tied to this place, and Anna's abilities can help her gain freedom. The lady invites the girls inside. Anna and Gwen clearly find it difficult to bear each other's presence. Beth says that she was a young heiress from a wealthy family, but her family took part in the uprising and lost everything. The girl was sold to this brothel. On the very first evening of her stay in the brothel, the young girl found a client. Deep down, Beth was too innocent for such a place and was ready to commit suicide. And she never expected that in this very place, and on this very evening, she would be able to fall in love at first sight. The guy was also from a good family. He was in a hurry to get to the city for exams, but his friends tricked him into going to a brothel. That night, young people sang, talked about the past and present, and played musical instruments. The guy was smart, educated, and had all the qualities of a true gentleman. Before Beth knew it, she had fallen hopelessly and completely in love with the young man. The guy wanted to take the girl with him, but time was running out, and he had to hurry to his exams. As a keepsake, the young man left behind a golden celestial umbrella, which was considered a relic in his family, and it never returned. The girl continued to serve customers until one day everything ended in tragedy. And then Beth decides to die because it is simply impossible to continue like this. The girl's blood soaked the zone, turning it bright red, and Beth, overcome with indignation, turned into an evil spirit. Anna asks with interest what happened next, how Beth became who she is now. Beth continues that later her boyfriend returned. He became the leader of the civilians and military, received the position of general, and came for Beth. When the boy learned of the death of his beloved, in a fit of rage, he killed everyone in the geisha pavilion. And then the man burned one of the buildings of the old pavilion to the ground. The man called the monk to try to summon the girl's soul. The monk used a special book to protect Beth's body and to keep it from rotting. He also locked the soul in it. Since then, the man tried his best to bring the girl back to life, but he died himself, unable to find a way out. Beth explains that later her energy was restored. Leaving her body, she turned into a ghost, and then became a spirit tied to the pavilion. The souls of the other girls are also trapped in this place. The mistress cannot leave here, so from time to time she sends them to suck out souls to support her own. Anna says that souls become attached to a place because of unfinished business, and to help Beth leave the pavilion, her business must be completed. Suddenly, Anna asks if Beth wants to see that man again. The demon categorically refuses. The lady calmly says that thousands of years have passed, and men have not interested her for a long time. Beth says that she can leave the castle if she gets rid of the book. Then she will be free. The lady notes that if Anna helps her become free, she will send the book to her master, which will be a great help. Beth reveals that Gwen also became a demon because of her resentment. From a certain point of view, the girl, another part of the mistress herself. Anna is puzzled that Beth knows about Gwen's crime on Lion Mountain, but still asks the ghost for help. The lady says that according to Gwen, the lion and company drove the girl out of her cave. But not all of the Lion Mountain belongs to the king. The geishas have been here for several thousand years. Approaching her coffin, the lady says that it is better to simply make a lot of enemies than to turn a feudal battle into hell. Anna and Erica look into the coffin and are amazed to see what a beautiful girl is lying in it, seemingly just sleeping. Anna, without any hesitation, reaches out to the book, but at that very moment it simply disappears. Beth says with irritation that the book cannot be taken just like that. It was necessary to use powers. This book not only locked the soul of the lady, but also protects the body, which is in the gap between yin and yang. Anna admits that she previously used the powers she received only on herself, and does not know if she will be able to use them on something else. Gwen suddenly explodes that the ghost did not tell her about this earlier, because now the book will start a defense mechanism. Beth says that no one knows what kind of protection this is, because for thousands of years no one has come near her body, and those who came immediately had their souls sucked out. Suddenly, the geishas who came with the heroes turn into some kind of demonic entities. With wild cries, the demons rush to attack the girls, protecting the book and the body of the mistress. Anna instantly rushes into attack, scattering demons in different directions. Erica begins shooting at the demons, hoping that the special bullets will be able to stop them. One of the bullets blows off half of the demon's head, but the former geisha grinningly notes that this will not stop her. The demon is chasing Erica, is about to attack, and the girl understands that she has no chance of salvation. But suddenly, Gwen comes to Erica's aid and throws the demon far away with her red umbrella. Gwen asks Beth if she can stop the demons, since they are her subjects. Beth regretfully notes that the geishas are controlled by something else, and she cannot take control of them. To destroy the demons, she needs to get to the book. Gwen yells at Anna that all the problems are because of her. If the girl hadn't ruined the geisha's umbrella, she would have gotten everyone out of here a long time ago. Beth asks Anna to try again, only this time she needs to use her powers. There is no other way. Anna confidently approaches the coffin and asks Gwen to cover her so that the demons do not interfere with her. The girl resolutely approaches the book, wondering what she can do to destroy it. Anna uses reality blurring and releases her spirit. After a while, the girl's eyes light up with a magical fiery light, and Anna realizes that she has found a way out.